court mumbo jumbo and careful consideration. Hello, 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 Cha Time listeners. Now, today I'm going to try my best to bring you the findings on James Timothy Norman's hearing and arraignment, his detention hearing and arraignment. Okay, it's so much, you all. It's like I'm going to try to give you the meat. It was so much said today. It was a lot of court mumbo jumbo. So I don't know, I'm going to try to break it down the best way I can because it's a lot of court mumbo jumbo, okay? And then also, you probably want to get to the point, straight to the facts. Is it a bail or no bail? Death or no death? Well, it was just his arraignment and detention here. And the judge did say she's going to carefully, um, basically advise to see whether he would be detained or not. I just want to go ahead and get that out because I know if you like me, you just want to hear what was said and what, the main key points, okay? The main key points. And that I do know was one thing I was listening for. And it was a lot of stuff, you all, okay? So, Chief Magistrate Nanette A. Baker. First, I want to start off with saying I wanted to bring you the recording, but when she said no recording and you will be fine in court, I said, I'm here to listen about Tim, not be like Tim. Okay, I just want to listen and not be like Tim. So, okay, all that came to a screeching halt. Okay, boom, no, okay. So I just started jotting down notes as fast as I could and pulling out what I thought was vital to the case and everything and to the hearing. So I want to go ahead and tell how it opened up. First, it was a long day. It was quite a bit of a delay. And nobody listened to it. It was a brief delay, about maybe 4 to 5 minutes delay or whatever. And it was on a Zoom phone call. And I did post the number and everything in an earlier video. But the judge opened up with this hearing and she said on the record, now United States versus James Timothy Norman. And I got a shiver just when she said that. I was just like, oh my God, this is big. So United States versus James Timothy Norman. And she said 420CR148. That is the case number, okay? And then she mentioned the other two defendants, which was Ellis and YL, okay? And like I said, there was a brief delay, okay? Now, here's the thing. They were, of course, practicing social distancing, staying apart from each other. So, obviously they had a mask, okay? So everybody, you could hear clearly speaking except Mr. Tim Norman. Now, he was speaking, but his speaking was mumbling, so the mask just muffled whatever he was saying. So I got to make out most things, and I just want to jump to the questions when he got to speak. And that's what I was listening for him to speak now. And you hear paper, but like I said, I jotted stuff down. Okay, y'all, I want to bring you the meat. Okay, so she asked questions that was just typical and basic that you would hear in the court. So she asked him his name, and I'm gonna basically say how he said it. James Timothy Norman. And then she asked for his age, 41. And then she asked for his date of birth, 13, 1979. I said, he and I was born in the same year. School, some college. Medication, no. Physical or mental condition, no. And then, so she gave Tim his rights, okay? And he basically yes ma'am to everything she asked. He yes ma'am to everything. She asked him of his right to counsel. He said yes, and just everything, like I said, the typical basic stuff. She asked him, and he answered, but his speech was muffled by his mask because he was mumbling. Like I said, you could hear everybody else so clear, but Tim, no, you could barely hear him. I just wanted to hear him, and see what he was going to say, but he stuck to what she asked, and she asked the questions and he answered, okay, and it was very brief. But I just want to go through that with you and let you know what questions she asked and everything. Now, the judge asked if Rogers had time to review. Um, she wanted to know if he had reviewed the complex case file. Now, I will put in here about what is complex case finding because, like I said, it was a lot of court mumbo jumbo. Complex case findings, learned counsel. It was another one that she mentioned. Let's see, it was complex case finding, learned. Learned was one. Learned counsel. That was one. And then she mentioned another one that she mentioned. I wanted to make sure I bring that to your attention as well because it was so much court mumbo jumbo. I was just like, oh my God, but I have everything for you laid out, okay? Um, I said the council and everything, right? Oh, status council. Okay, and I had never heard of that before. Really, this is like some words I never heard because like legally I don't just I've never been to court for something like this. So, the court mumbo jumbo is the reason why I said it like that. Because if you like me, you probably like, what the heck is a learning council? What the heck is a status conference? Are they gonna have another conference call? And I'm gonna break all that down as well. The status conference, complex case, and the learning council. So they went on to talk about those things and it was in order, okay? It was in order. So I was just jotting down fast as my little fingers could go, okay? So she also brought up about Tim first charged in a complaint on August 11, 2020, then indicted on August 2020. All right, then so we're gonna break through this court mumbo jumbo because and then I want to talk about what his attorney, Mr. Rogers, did as far as for his detention and everything. So as far as him being detained, because he's basically seeking him house arrest, okay, until the trial. So, and that's why I said careful consideration because she said she would take it in under advisement. Okay, but she did, however, and I want to highlight this. She did, however, ask Rogers if he aware of Miss Terica Ellis's arraignment, and he answered yes. He did ask him that. Now, Rogers, I want to talk about how he tried to paint this picture of Tim. Well, he's basically just saying where Tim would be detained with his mom, and he has two children that he is basically been in contact with. He named the two children, TJ and Jace, or Timothy Jr. and Jace. He named the children. He said he's still in contact outside of that, but he said he's still been in contact with them and everything, and he's not a flight risk. That was the main thing, I guess, that you could say he wanted to point out that he wasn't a flight risk or anything. But that's why I do believe the judge said careful consideration. Now, me, in my opinion, I feel the judge basically is going to give him no bail. She's going to basically hold him there until trial. That's me. I could be wrong. I mean, it's my opinion. You can respectfully agree or disagree. But I'm personally myself believe that she is going to basically do the same as Terica Ellis. Now, she could go a different route, and it could be a lesson learned for Terica, but I do feel that um, in lieu of this, she's going to definitely detain him, keep him detained. Okay, so like I said, let's talk about the complex case findings. I want to talk about how the judge granted the U.S. counsel for complex case. Okay, so she granted that. Now, I did some digging up, some research on complex case finding, and what I found is a complex case is an action that requires exceptional judicial management to avoid placing unnecessary burdens on the court or the litigants and to expedite the case keep costs reasonable, and promote effective decision making by the court, the parties, and counsel. Okay, so complex, if you think about what complex means, and you already know what case what case means. When you think about complex, you think about difficult, convoluted. You think of those terms. That's what I think of. Because the opposite would be something simple. And so this case is a complex case, meaning it's very, very convoluted and it's complicated and difficult. So, and she also expressed that as well. So, anyhow, the judge granted the U.S. counsel for complex case findings. Now, in my finding, I read something about the subject to provision of Rule 8.4, every person against whom an indictment, information, or complaint is filed shall be tried by the court having jurisdiction of the offense within the following time period. Okay, that word was thrown out there, jurisdiction. I'm telling you, what mumbo jumbo. Capital cases, it was like 18 months from arraignment if the state files a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. And the reason why I found those two, I highlight them because this ties in with this case. And this case is very, very difficult. Now, not only that, the U.S. Counsel as well stated that the case was complex. And I wanted to highlight that for you about the case being complex because that's exactly what the judge granted the U.S. counsel. She basically ruled in that favor of them, I guess, whatever they need to do as far as the case findings goes. Now, Rogers, he said that he had only reviewed one. The counsel said they only given one, but it was due to some situation. It was a lot said, y'all. It was so much. It was a bulk of stuff done in like 30-some minutes, but it was a lot of court mumbo jumbo. Now, somebody that's legal minded could break this down and be like, you can get it. So if anybody else is out there breaking it down with me, I'm gonna look at it. But you look at it too. I support other people as well. So, then this went on, like I said, she talked with that was the court mumbo jumbo case about the what was that complex case finding. Now we're moving on to, because I did write it down in order how it was proceeding out. Now she talked about the status conference. The status conferences will be held. The status conference will be held December the 2nd, 2020. Now you probably like me, like I'm all over the place. What the heck is a status conference? A status conference, and I'm going in the order and the way they were speaking. I'm pulling out the meat of it, okay? The court mumbo jumbo. Now, status conference, this is a court date in which your attorney will have a chance to negotiate with the county attorney to try and resolve your case. Usually, the police reports are made available at this time, and an initial offer is made as well. What happens at a status conference? If you like me, you wonder what is going to happen at this status conference. What are they going to do? Are they going to give him a dope penalty there, or are they going to give him a bond or anything? So it's a meeting of the judge and the lawyers or unrepresented parties in a pending legal matter to determine how the case is progressing. At the status conference, the judge may ask about what discovery has been conducted. Once again, it's that discovery that goes back to complex case findings, rather, and how the parties have tried to settle the case and other pretrial matters. Okay, then I'm gonna move on now because I want to get this to you in a matter of not so much. So the next term that came up towards the end, this is like towards the end of the count of the hearing. I'm sorry, of the hearing. This is towards the end. It's like the learned counsel. And I'm like, what is that? I'm writing it down, and I'm like, oh my God, what is learned counsel? Okay, what is learned counsel? So I have that, and I said I jotted this stuff down in that order. Okay, learned counsel. 6020.30 procedures for appointment of counsel in federal death penalty cases. Now, this case is definitely, death penalty is definitely on the table for both Erica and Tim. Availability, it says availability and willingness of proposed counsel to accept the appointment and to represent effectively I'm sorry, you all. The interest of the client. Okay. So availability and willingness of proposed counsel to accept the appointment and to represent effectively the interest of the client. So that is what learned counsel means. So she did ask him, Mr. Rogers, his lawyer, and then she did explain to Tim that if he was going to accept another counsel, that she went through the rules of him and keeping the counsel to the end of the trial or whatever, and just court litigation stuff. Okay, so she did talk to him and Mr. Rogers about that. Mr. Rogers threw out some details about that. So she said learning counsel is allowed. All right, so that's like for a second lawyer. Let's just lay it down. What does that mean? A second lawyer, okay? They can bring in a second lawyer. He said, now, Mr. Rogers said the procedures were complex in this circuit, so he was still reviewing some stuff. Like I said, he threw some stuff on the table, but I know one thing he said, that the procedures are complex. Once again, that word complex, which means difficult or convoluted in this circuit. So he was talking about this circuit and how the procedures are complex. Now, and this is when she said, okay, so let's talk about the detention. Now, this is where Mr. Rogers talks about Tim and his family and other prior criminal history, his past. Basically, he was doing some lawyer stuff. You know what I'm saying? He was actually playing some lawyer games. So, he was telling about, he was using terms as if it was alleged offense and stuff like that. Even though he was filed a criminal charge and everything, he still threw out alleged offense, okay? And then he said Tim was trying to break up that situation. Not. Okay, so once again, saw that conversation, and I scratched my head on that. Okay, so I know I can see now that Mr. Kim Rogers is going to be playing some really hardcore games here. Okay, so the U.S. Council really going to have to put their best foot. I'm sorry, well, both feet. They're gonna have to put their feet forward. They're gonna have to put their feet forward, like just jump and put their feet forward, okay? But put their best foot forward in this. And I do believe they will. I really do. I really believe they will. So I'm trying to get all of the stuff out that I want to get to you all, because it looks like there's no media, but I did want to relate to you that it was a lot of court mumbo jumbo, and that basically she's gonna take in consideration about the detainment. And like I said, in that part, that's towards the end of the hearing, is where Mr. John P. Rogers was basically talking about them and where he would live and the family and the kids and everything, and that he could possibly be in Mississippi or in St. Louis, but he will be on house arrest, um, because he will still be working for uh, Sweetie Pies. So he will still be working for Sweetie Pies, even if he's out on bail. He will still be working. He may go to Mississippi and St. Louis, because both of the places. Now, I don't know about the one in Mississippi. I had to dig up and see if it's still open or what they're gonna do there. I don't know, but he did mention that. Like I said, he's very slick, you all, very slick. So the fact that, and I'm not saying that, well, Miss Roberts should throw him out, but the fact that he mentioned that he will be staying with his mom and clearly still working for Sweetie Pie. Like, when you do stuff on your job, I mean, when you do something like a criminal act and you get arrested on your job or at home, your job normally does what? I'll wait for it. They do what? Fire you, right? They terminate you, especially with a case like this. Now, I know it's probably some laws of loopholes through that, but normally that's how I've seen it. People cannot go back to that job, especially if that person was arrested on that job, or whether they have a criminal offense against them. Yes, they are innocent until proven guilty. So I guess that's what the cover up would be. The loophole would be like, well, he's innocent to proven guilty, and it's a family business, but who cares? Business is business. You murdered my grandson, thus you're fired. He wouldn't even have private attorney unless he got it on his own. That's just me speaking. That's just me speaking. But we're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait and see what happens on December the 2nd for the status conference. And I did explain to you what that means. And I told you, yeah, I did. I told you what the status conference means. And I told you the date. It will be December 2nd. That was the date. December the 2nd. 2020. So 2020. Yeah, December the 2nd. That's the status conference. And it was interesting. It was 30 something minutes, but it was interesting. Let me see, because I just jotted it down and I looked at the time frame on my phone, 34 minutes. Because I looked at my timestamp on my phone when I hung up when it said um something. It is in or something, whatever she said. It is over. Whatever the little operated voice thing said. So I looked at the time. That was like 34 minutes. So, but yeah, like I'm like, I do not want to be like Tim. I wanted to so badly record it and bring it back and just let you listen in on the hearing. But once she said that was said twice. It was said by the court deputy and turned around and said it by magistrate uh, Nanette A. Baker. Okay, so once they said that, yeah. So I just said, I'll stop right there. But I did, I gave you the meat, and I basically told you that right now is no bail. Like it's no bond. It's no. It hasn't. A bail hasn't been set. You can't say no bail. A bail has not been set. A bond, rather, a bond has not been set. And the fact that she asked him, was he aware of Terry Kelly's situation? To me, it's kind of like, I don't know. Everything's so sneaky. You can't trust me. But to me, it was kind of like, well, if you know that situation, you kind of know where I'm geared towards because this is a high profile case and it's very convoluted. And the fact that it's so complex, you don't know who else is is the shooter. We don't know who the shooter is. Had they identified the shooter? You know, he could be not only, he could be at risk of getting killed. So they got to take all of that. That's why she said she would take it under advisement, and that means careful consideration. So they're going to look at all sides of the spectrum here, but I do not see him getting a bail. Okay, I don't see him getting it at all for the simple fact that this case is the way it is, and they got to look at everything. So we're gonna wait and see. And if I'm wrong, I will be a woman enough to admit it that I was wrong. But other than that, I just wanted to let you all fill you in on that court info. Like I said, court mumbo jumbo and careful, very careful consideration. You have just been Cha-Cha Time in the news. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit that bell, hit the like, and share, okay? Subscribe, hit the bell, like, and share. And check me out over on anchor.fm. That's my podcast. And this morning I did a podcast on Mr. Rogers. And I uploaded that to YouTube. But check me out on anchor.fm and support me. I am growing. And please hit that like button. Please subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notifications when I come back with more info on Tim Norman's case or anything else I'm talking about, okay? Because I do it all. You have just been Cha-Cha Time in the news. Happy birthday to Andre and rest in peace. Tomorrow is his birthday.